So, Eugenie, what do you think of the TPPA?
It's going to be a disaster for New Zealand. Even the government is now saying it's not going to be a gold-plated deal, having promised us that it would be.
Now, do you even get a say in what's happening in the TPPA?
This is a major trade agreement. The New Zealand public should have a say. We don't get a say and we don't get to see the text. There's a court case happening later in October to try and get the text released. New Zealanders should be able to see the text. If the TPPA is going to be as good as the government claims, there should be no hesitation in showing us the text. Corporates get to see the text, but New Zealanders don't.
Now,
That's wrong.
Why does New Zealand even need to have the TPPA?
Because the government believes that free trade will lead to more exports by reducing tariffs that other countries impose.
Now, do you agree with us having the TPPA?
We need to have fair trade. We need trade, but not the unconstrained free trade that the TPPA provides. One of the problems with the TPPA is also the investor-state dispute provisions, the fact that multinationals and corporates will be able to take legal action against the New Zealand government in secret tribunals.
Now, do you know if the New Zealand public will get to have a say in us having the TPPA?
No, they won't, because the TPPA will be signed by the government without it going through the Parliament. Parliament passes all laws that apply to New Zealanders, but in the case of this free trade agreement, we don't get a say.
Now, do you think the public should actually get a say and get to vote on this?
The public should definitely have a say through the normal parliamentary procedures where people can make submissions, can comment, and Parliament can make changes to the law before it's implemented. There has been a massive mobilisation of New Zealanders. Kiwis realise that we stand to lose with the TPPA. We stand to lose in terms of medicine. Medicines will likely become much more expensive because it will undermine Pharmac's ability to buy pharmaceuticals. We've seen in Australia, Philip Morris has taken legal action against the Australian government seeking to introduce plain packaging. That's cost the government $50 million and it hasn't even got to the substantive proceedings yet. So these investor-state dispute provisions in the TPPA undermine our domestic law, the government's ability to regulate to protect worker rights, worker safety, and to protect the environment. It allows corporations to sue the government. That's wrong.
Now, do we know when this will be signed at all?
Well, we've been hearing Mr Grosser just in the last week say that perhaps the TPP won't deliver as much as the government had intended. The government should walk away.
Now, do you think New Zealanders will move away from New Zealand because of this?
No, I think though that it will compromise our law and the ability of Parliament as the people's representatives to pass law that protects workers, that protects our environment.
Now, do you think National will actually back up their idea and actually go, hey, we're the main people of New Zealand? Do you think that they're actually going to listen to the public instead of the big people?
The government should listen. There have been marches and actions throughout the country with thousands of people taking to the streets to say we don't want the TPPA, we want the right to pass laws that apply in New Zealand without corporates muddling with those laws.
And do you think the people of New Zealand will win with these protests?
No. Oh, sorry. I think the protests have shown how much Kiwis care. The government needs to listen. It should walk away from the TPPA.
Now, do you think National will ever come out and speak to anyone about this?
The Green Party has held ministers to account in Parliament. Russell Norman has asked a number of questions challenging Minister Grosser. It is ridiculous that the minister says he's got too much emotionally in the deal to walk away. It shouldn't depend on Mr Grosser's emotions.
What does New Zealand still own, especially because most things are being sold to other corporate bodies that is now overseas? What does New Zealand actually still own?
We still own a lot of the land in New Zealand. We still own a lot of land in New Zealand, and we still have the right to legislate, pass law to protect ourselves. We don't want the TPPA to undermine that right. We don't want foreign corporates to be able to sue the New Zealand government to further their interests ahead of Kiwis.
Do National believe they could get away with rigging the next election?
National's public relations is very sophisticated. A lot of New Zealanders don't realise just how much debt we have, and that has been because of the national government's massive spend on think big projects like irrigation schemes and its big subsidies for things like the South Canterbury Finance.
Now, what is the secrecy about the TPPA?
Well, there are a lot of corporates on the delegations which get to negotiate, but there are a lot of corporates on the delegations which are negotiating these treaties, but no strong representatives of the community. We need the text to be shown to New Zealanders, and they will show just what a crummy deal this is.
And do you think that New Zealand should change their flag or keep the old one?
The Green Party last week negotiated and got the Red Peak option added to the referendum. Kiwis should vote on that. I personally favour a change and would probably vote for Red Peak.